So, let's talk about the gambling pandemic in South Africa. Did you know that South Africans spent over 1.5 trillion on gambling in just 1 year? How many millionaires has gambling ever created? Because it destroys a lot of families quietly. Now, to give you some perspective, the biggest gambling markets in the world is the United States. Americans spend about $120 billion a year on gambling, which is roughly 2.2 trillion, and this number continues to grow. So, South Africa at 1.5 trillion is not that far off, which then raises the question, is South Africa becoming one of the biggest gambling markets in the world? I have a personal story to share with you when it comes to the topic of gambling. In I don't have much experience personally when it comes to gambling. The most that I've lost when gambling is about 100 rands. After that, I never tried again. I realized that I didn't have the risk appetite to gamble. However, I have a family member who got into a very serious gambling debt to the point where they couldn't even meet their family's basic needs anymore. I mean, this person was failing to even pay for the child's university fees, and the child had to drop out. I've heard also of stories where people will spend money that they were supposed to use on rent or to buy groceries or pay school fees for their kids. They'll take that money and gamble it away. And the family now suffers because of the actions of that person. And people might think that this is a problem for people with low income. That is far from the truth. There are high earners also who spend most of their earnings on gambling. So, is gambling just a game or is it something bigger? Because gambling today doesn't look like what it used to, maybe that's also another reason why there's such a rise in gambling. You know, in the old days, you would have to get out of your house and go look for a casino, before you can start gambling. But in today's world, the casino lives in your pocket. It's right in your phone. You carry it everywhere with you. You can gamble from your workplace, you can gamble from the comfort of your bed. So you can lose thousands without ever leaving your house. So why do people gamble? Is it about making money? Is it a form of entertainment? Is it a distraction? Are people doing this because they're trying to escape their daily struggles? Or in a country like South Africa, is it does it give people some form of hope? There's a very high rate of unemployment in South Africa, and we all know the economic pressure that South Africans are in. So, is this a form of survival? Does it give people hope that they'll be able to make money and, meet their needs, their everyday needs? So, the South African National Gambling Board reported that in the 2024-2025 financial year, South Africans spent about 1.5 trillion rands on gambling. That is a 30% increase from the previous year. This is a massive growth for the gambling industry. But a lot of households are affected by this because this money that is going towards these gambling companies is money that is coming from households. And these same homes continue to face financial difficulties while betting companies continue to make billions. Statistics show that men are the ones that gamble the most compared to women. They're the ones that are likely to develop a gambling addiction, even though there are some women who do have a gambling addiction, but at most it is men that become gambling addicts. So, is there an underlying issue that is causing this, that is causing people to run to gambling, apart from the ones that we've mentioned? So, apparently, there's a science behind this gambling addiction. The gambling addiction has been studied across neuroscience, psychology, and behavioral economics, and it is scientifically, officially classified as a mental health condition called gambling disorder. So, how many people are now becoming gambling addicts because of this? How many people are suffering from this gambling disorder because of um, the gambling pandemic that we have in South Africa today? So I think this is something that we should all take more seriously as a society. A lot of the times we see this as a form of entertainment or just something you do, you know, just to relax and get your mind off things. But it is indeed something that should be taken more seriously. Maybe there are a few winners when it comes to gambling, but I'm yet to hear of any success stories from people who gamble. Usually, it ends with people amassing a huge debt. Some people, like I said, develop gambling addictions, and this can be very dangerous. We've all heard of the story of Rosemary Ndlovu on how her gambling addiction led her to killing almost her entire family. She also loved money a lot, so that was another factor. But the fact that she was a gambling addict didn't help. So gambling does not create instant millionaires. If this was if this was the case, then most of us would be millionaires by now. The only millionaires that gambling has ever created are the owners of the company. So then there's a question of responsibility. Who is to blame for this? Is it the gambling companies that are making it easier and easier for people to gamble? Or is it the individuals that choose to participate? Or do we blame the government? Should there be stricter regulations for gambling companies? I don't think there's an easy answer to this. But there are some people who win, but for every person who wins, there are so many more who lose. And sometimes the people that lose more than just money. They lose their peace of mind, they lose their stability, they lose their future. So maybe the real question then isn't about how big the gambling industry is becoming. Maybe the question is, are we treating it like harmless entertainment when it might actually be something much more serious? So that is food for thought. What do you think of this, the rise of gambling in South Africa? Don't forget to like, share, and share your thoughts in the comments.